Hello and welcome to episode number 119 of the WP Café show, the show where we share the real, unfiltered experience of running a WordPress business. I'm Keith Devon from High Rise Digital, and as always, I'm joined by my co-host, Mark Wilkinson. Today, we're going to be talking about our new project. It's called Offline.Kids. And we'll get into more details about that in a moment, and some of the trials and tribulations and opportunities and excitement that we've experienced over the last week or two. As always, if you enjoy the show, please do hit subscribe, hit the like button, share on the socials, do all the things. You can find us all over the place. We are on X at WP Cafe Show. We're on Blue Sky, wpcafe.show, which is also our web address. We're on YouTube, and we're on your favorite podcast player. So we're all over the place. Find us in all of those places. But first, Mark, it has been a while since we did a show, so I think a little quick catch-up is in order. How are you? What have you been up to?
I am well, yeah. It's been a number of weeks, isn't it? It's probably been about a month at least, I think.
Too long.
A mixture of things going on in our lives, and then getting to sort of Friday morning and thinking, not really got an awful lot to talk about today, so we didn't kind of do one.
There's a bit of that.
But yeah, so no, I've been busy enjoying the sunshine. Really, it's been really nice weather in the UK or in the north of the UK. I don't know what it's like in you, but for the last few weeks at least.
Yeah.
Been taking advantage of the sunshine, going to play some golf, which has been nice. Been building stuff.
Yeah.
Which we're going to talk about, obviously, as well.
Yeah.
And yeah, nothing mind-bogglingly groundbreaking, but
no,
been good.
Yeah, same for me. I think did I have a couple of Fridays off? I definitely went to a wedding.
Yeah.
One of them. I was in Northern Ireland for a wedding, which was very nice. But we've got to Friday a few times, haven't we? And we've been like, there's been no real major kind of news, so we don't want to put out shows just for the sake of it. We want to put them out when we've actually got something to say and something to talk about. So yeah. And we do. So today, I don't know where to start. Should I start with a bit of an origin story? And
I think everyone likes an origin story. Go for it. Yeah.
Well, the idea for this project came to me when I was, it was probably about 7 years ago, when my daughter was pretty young, and I was a very tired dad, trying my best to be an engaging parent. I had a daughter that, as they do, demand an awful lot of your time and attention, and I struggled to think of creative things to do with her. So you'd end up like defaulting to the same kind of things, or when she was old enough, TV starts to creep in, and oh my god, that's so easy. You just put her in front of the TV or whatever. But I've always had this like itch that I wish I had something in front of me that I could just in those moments be like, oh yeah, but you could play this with her, or you could do this activity. And it was just that I just couldn't bring those things to the front of my mind in the moment when I needed them. Okay. I was just like, I was tired and stressed. It's like, oh, what should we do? And you forget that there's like Lego there, and you forget that you could do some coloring in or do a jigsaw puzzle, or if you're in the garden, you kind of forget all the loads of different games you could potentially play because your creativity is just at zero because you're so tired. So anyway, during that time or shortly after, I kind of thought, oh, it'd be really cool to make a little app where you could just kind of say what situation you were in. Like, I've got half an hour, I'm in the garden, and I'm with a 3-year-old. What can I do? And just give me some ideas. And that app idea has just stuck with me for years. And I've always thought, if we pack it in with High Rise Digital, that'll be the first thing I build. I'm going to go and one day I'm going to go and do this. And then we built our content, browse content plugin, or whatever we're going to call it, our automated SEO landing pages directory plugin for WordPress, to give it its catchy name. We built that for jobs. for people's job boards. So it's a way that you build this kind of directory system, and it automatically creates landing pages and URLs. And the filtering system's actually quite nice. It's all kind of link based, rather than all JavaScripty. You go to actual pages on the web that you can share and stuff. So there's a lot I really liked about it. And then I was trying to kind of push it out to people, like saying, or would send it out to SEO agencies and stuff, like, would you be interested in this kind of thing? We talked about it on here, talked about it a bit on the socials, and just nobody was picking it up. And I was just like, what if there's just something we could build? Like, what kind of directory could we build and just test it out, prove the concept, fix the bugs? Bloody hell, there's that idea. There's that kids' activities idea that I've had this whole time. So you were away on holiday. You were on a nice cruise, weren't you? And I was just like, do you know what? I'm going to do it. I'm just going to see how much progress I can make this week, putting this together. And I did. And I moved as fast as I could. Tried not to get bogged down too much in branding and design and making everything perfect. I just let's get this proof of concept up and running. So I had it all built locally, and then you came back. I was like, Mark, I've got something to show you. And I was expecting just a mediocre response to it. I thought you'd be like, okay, yeah, great. Who cares? Basically, I really did. I really did. And I
don't know what that says about me, but
but because it's a kind of pet project, there was no particular reason that I thought that you would be as excited about this as me. Like, it's been sitting with me for years, and I'm finally expressing this thing. Whereas for you, it's just like, oh, Keith's had another fucking idea, hasn't he? So he's off on another one. But you were really enthusiastic about it, and then that kind of gave me a little boost. Actually, I was like, okay, I've shared this idea with someone who I thought might not instantly go for it, and you were keen, and I just thought, okay, let's give this a go. So we built it. We've got a website up and running, Offline.Kids. So I nabbed the domain name. Thought it was quite a cool domain name. We got what I had locally online, and then over the last week or 2 weeks, probably, we've been just working away at it, chipping away at all the little features, the bugs, adding activities, gradually kind of pushing it out to people, getting a bit of feedback. It
was funny because on the holiday I got email notifications come through that said, "Oh, you've bought this domain from wherever it was, Namecheap or whatever."
Yeah,
and I was like, "That's interesting," because I haven't bought that domain. And then it said the domain was like Offline.Kids. I was like,
"Yeah, no,
someone's hacked, someone's bought. That's not us. Definitely not us." So I sent this email to Keith just saying, "Oh, just to confirm that you've definitely not bought this, because obviously I'm going to have to do something about it otherwise." And he's like, "No, it was me."
Yeah. What? And then what did you think at that point? Were you like, "What the hell's this?" Like, did you have any
I just thought, fine, we'll deal with it afterwards. Yeah,
yeah. Get on with your holiday. Don't stress
about it. Yeah. But
so
that was that. And then when I got back, well, you basically just built it all. And actually, it shows you how far you can get in WordPress today without me, essentially. You were using what I'd done for the concept of the landing pages, and then obviously we've done tons onto it after that since in the preceding weeks. But and also in the full site editor and that. I mean, I love the branding of the site. I think you could argue, you could spend hours tinkering with it and faffing around with it, but I've just learned it's fine. Yeah. It really is. It looks nice. It's fine. Maybe in the future you want to change it, but it absolutely serves a purpose. It looks good.
Yeah, I think. Yeah, I think it's okay. Yeah, I always look at things and want them to be just right. But for this, I've really tried to put that to one side and just be like, it's good enough. Like, just get to the good enough bit. But that's interesting in itself, because is it good enough? And I'm not talking about the design. I'm talking about the whole website, the whole idea, the concept. Like, and we spoke about this recently. Like, we're both really trying to get to the bottom of what is it that people might actually want from this. Like, they land on it. We need parents to land on it and think, oh, thank God, yes, I didn't even know I needed this, but this is brilliant. Like, we need that kind of reaction. And how do we get that when I've been to loads of other sites that have like craft ideas on them, like loads of other like parenting blogs, and like, you know, the National Trust has stuff, the Girl Guides has stuff, like loads and loads. Good Housekeeping has lists and how to keep kids entertained over the holidays and stuff.
Yeah.
But so what is it about this that's going to be, you know, this is the one, this is what I've been after? And I don't know the answer to that yet. I think partly a lot of those other pages just literally list, like, some of them are literal lists. I've seen like 101 things to do with your kids screen free or whatever, and
it's like number one, number two, number three, number four,
numbered list of just titles. So we've got more than that because we actually go into how to do the thing, and we, you know, have variations on it, the steps required, the materials required. So there's that, and it's filterable and everything. So there's that. That's a feature. But then there are other websites out there that have like really good step-by-step tutorials, especially the craft ones. I think the craft ones are going to be the ones that are hardest to compete with, because there's like,
this is also offline, obviously, as well. It's not screen stuff. It's not, you know.
Well, yeah.
So that's a difference. Some of those other sort of lists that you find are, you know, do this and do that that requires a screen or a phone or a laptop.
Possibly. Most of them aren't, though. But I mean, yeah. But anyway, it has to really resonate with parents who land on it in some way, for them to come back and for them to share it and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, it's been.
I think
it's been fun.
For it to have that impact on parents, when you land on the site, I think it needs to be obvious that it is screen-free activities, which I think it is, because that's obviously the main heading. Yeah. But I also think that you'd need, and it would help if it had something to back up the fact why screen-free activities are good for your children.
Mm-hmm.
Is there any medical, scientific, research that's been done that means we should be doing more of these things with our kids and less screen time with our kids, and what benefit that might have? Because I just think it kind of like it's the same as social proof, but not social proof. It's the proof that I'm doing the right thing as a parent, and this site's helping me do that right thing.
Yeah.
So I think that would help. I don't know how we do that, but that would help.
No, I think you're right. I think there's like lots of potential blog posts around the topic of kids' mental health. And I said to you the other day, the thing that worries me a little bit about that is I'm not an expert in that stuff, and I don't want to be putting out kind of psychological advice because I'm not a psychologist.
But I think you could research from experts. That's what I mean. Find the evidence, link to it, talk about it, and you know, having read this and this and quoted and so forth. I think that would help. Yeah. I also think what we should have on there is literally the story that you've just told. Like, this is how this site was born, why it's there.
I think there is one. It's
people like a story, you know.
That's on the about page, but that's the about page is pretty well hidden. There's a link to it in the footer.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think you're right, and potentially that's an angle when it comes to marketing it. If we ever do any PR and try to put it out in front of, I don't know, other websites, news outlets, journalists, etc., it's probably the story.
Yeah,
that's the powerful thing. And certainly here in the UK, there's definitely a anti-smartphone movement around for kids at the minute, so it's quite topical in that sense. So
yeah, I agree.
Potentially we can hook into some of that.
Yeah, getting out there would be good. If you are watching and you have any feedback, we'd love to know. Yeah. So whether you stick it in the comments, don't mind, or you'd send us something afterwards, it'd be nice to get some feedback on anything, you know, whether it's rubbish, whether it's amazing, what you like about it, what you think, ideas you could go, you know, would be good, I think.
And just while we're on it, hello to Jackson and hello to Mark in the comments. Nice to have you along, fellas.
What was an interesting task that I did? You should do this on everything, really, but you never do. When you built it, I know you'd shown it to your wife, and she'd looked at it and everything, and I was building it. But this was like 3 weeks after we'd built it. We were still developing it, and it was still built. And I just said, "Oh, well, I've not actually shown it to my wife and mentioned it." And she's she's not very brilliant with tech. She'll openly admit that. So I thought, right, this is a perfect opportunity. So I just said to her, "Can you go onto your phone?" I wanted to do it on the phone and not the desktop.
Yeah.
Can you just go onto the website and I'm not going to tell you anything else, essentially. So, do you know what? So I wanted to know, does she know what it is? Does she know how to use it? Can she find stuff on it? And actually, it was a really successful experiment. Like, she found stuff. She knew what it was. She used the filters. So it was quite a good positive response from it. But I'm sure there's things that could be improved. But it was kind of proof that it can be used by people, if that makes sense. To search for stuff and find stuff, which is good.
Yeah, really, really good. Yeah, I'd like to do a bit more of that kind of testing. I should give it to my daughter and see if she can find a particular activity. If I can get her to filter down to find something, that'd be really interesting.
Definitely.
But yeah, so lots of technical challenges. So we've built it off the back of the plugin that we internally call browse content, which is not a very, I don't know, exciting name for it. But that's what the plugin's called. So we've built it off the back of that. But because we've been working on this, like, we've actually enhanced that plugin a fair bit now. Added a bunch of features, fixed a bunch of stuff. Like, for example, we hadn't realized that pagination didn't work, the pagination links. And actually, we had this plugin running on a couple of live sites. So we were able to catch that because we built Offline.Kids to then go and patch it immediately on the two sites that it's running live on. So that was a good catch.
And it is worth mentioning, it is still in beta. Like, so for example, if you'll notice if you land on the all kids activities page, we get the nice heading 80+ screen-free activities for kids with a bit of a blurb. If you click page 2, the title kind of breaks.
It does.
Which is on my list to fix. But it's little stuff like that, which was still sort of like fixing and working through. So it's kind of grabbing a custom post at the top, and then obviously when you paginate, you get different parameters in the URL, and I haven't accounted for them when I'm kind of like parsing that and trying to grab the right piece of content.
Yeah.
So I was looking at that the other day and getting myself into a minefield of mess. But, I had to just put it down at the end and say, no, I need to stop looking at this because it wasn't making any sense.
One of the cool things you did was the count. I really like the count and the titles. So like 19 indoor arts and crafts activities for kids. I thought that's kind of cool. How did you do it?
Yeah, so just to clarify, when you click on an activity type or any of the terms down the left-hand side, obviously if you're looking at a mobile, it's the filters that you click on. When you click on those, the title that you see on the page is automatically generated. You can edit it because we've built that in, and some of these have been edited and made custom. And it generates that based on the name of the activity type. So by default, for example, it might say arts and crafts activities for kids. If you then add a location type, it might say indoor arts and crafts activities for kids.
Mm-hmm.
But what we wanted to do is to put the number that's been returned so that it would say however many have been returned in your filter, it would show you how many there is in the title. So in this case, I've just clicked on arts and crafts, and there's 20 posts, there's 20 activities, so it does say 20 fun arts and crafts activities for kids.
Yeah.
So how do we do that? A lot of regex, which I will openly admit I got a lot of help with from AI, because regex is, I just don't know.
As you should.
Anyone understand regex?
Yeah.
And basically, for every for every link down the left-hand side, you'll notice there is a number when you go on the site, which just tells you how many posts you're going to get returned. And essentially, that's doing a query to look up all of the posts from that query. And we're just using the results of that query in the header, doing it like that. So that's how that works. And then I've also built one so that if you add a post title block and you give it a specific class, it will automatically put that number at the front for you. So when you get up on the front end,
is that how it's doing it? It's just a class. That's just looking for a class.
It's just a block variation, and the variation to the block is it has that class. So that's all it is. Nothing.
Very nice. Yeah,
it's the easiest way of doing it. You could mess with custom attributes, but you've got to then add the attribute and start messing around with that. So I just did it like that.
Yeah.
So that's how that works. Yeah. So yeah, that was one of the challenges: custom headers and getting those counts in and things.
Yeah.
You'll notice the site has an age taxonomy, so it has, pick an age of so it returns activities for age.
Yeah.
There was a problem with that though. Do you want to explain what that was? And
it was just me being an idiot, basically. So in my haste while I was developing this, I was using Cursor because that's another thing I was just playing with. Is like, how good can I get at using Cursor to build WordPress stuff? So I created an activities plugin. I was telling Cursor that I needed, this taxonomy and this taxonomy for this new post type called activities. I was like, I need a minimum and a maximum age taxonomy because that's how I'll kind of classify things, because that's how parents will want to search. I need activities for kids between 5 and 8 years old.
Yeah,
which is a flawed concept anyway, because I don't have a 5 to 8 year old. I have a 5-year-old or a 6-year-old or a 7-year-old or an 8-year-old. And I think looking at search data, people obviously search for activities for 5-year-olds. So anyway, Cursor, with my guidance, I'm not blaming Cursor, created a minimum age and a maximum age taxonomy, and I just happily started adding numbers to those, and then it all worked with your system because I was like, it would create a box that I could then filter by minimum age and maximum age. What I didn't realize, though, is that it didn't actually work in the sense that I could set an activity to have a minimum age of 5 and a maximum age of 8. It would not pick up things with a minimum age of 6 and a maximum age of 7. With things within it. So it needed to be that minimum age or that maximum age, none of the numbers in between. Yeah. So I was like, oh crap, so it doesn't work at all. So I changed that just to age. So it's just age 12, and then the URL becomes activities/age-12, etc. So currently you can't do like a minimum maximum kind of thing on the site. I'm sure there's ways that we will be able to do that. Probably not within our system, but with query parameters or something later on. If people wanted some kind of slider for minimum max age, I'm not sure they are going to want to, but maybe.
No.
Maybe you've got a group of kids. Maybe you've got like families. I do have a 4-year. I don't, but someone has a 4-year-old and a 6-year-old, and they're like, I want to see activities that would be good for 4 to 6-year-olds. That actually could make sense. So we'll see if we need to add that later. But yeah, that was a big change. Luckily, that's also helped in a way because it's reduced the number of potential page combinations quite significantly. So if you imagine for every taxonomy and taxonomy term, it creates every other page combination with that term. So every time you add a term, it's potentially creating, you almost need to take all the taxonomies and all the terms and multiply them up. So it's basically exponential. So removing a whole taxonomy with 18 terms was quite significant in terms of how many pages are dynamically generated, of which there are many, by the way, in our example, which is something that we could potentially talk about.
I would just come back to some questions if we can at this point.
Yeah.
Jackson, thank you for joining us, asked, yay, tech stack, please. Looks great and super fast. And I'm going to deal with the super fast bit first. And the honest answer is, I'm I'm not quite sure why it is super fast.
You cached a lot.
Well, it's the answer to that why it's super fast is probably because it's just the static cache. So it's just caching the pages as you generate them, and then you get them really fast because I've already been there and done them. Although it is pretty fast without that on. And the reason why it confuses me slightly is because when you start to drill down into a lot of the different filters, so if you've got a long URL, I've got activities, movement, physical, outdoor, high energy, and age 10, then there's a lot of things to query down the left-hand side, like all those different pages. It has to count how many posts there are, so it has to query them first, and so on. So I expected this to be, one of my main worries was this was going to be quite slow, but that doesn't seem to be the case. It does seem to be fairly quick, particularly when you've got a cache obviously involved, which is good.
What is caching it, by the way? What kind of caching solution are we using?
It's SpinUp WP's cache. I don't know. Someone will have to with great knowledge.
SpinUp WP helper plugin. So is it part of that? Is it part of that?
That's SpinUp WP. I don't know. There's this. What is it? What do they call it? It's just you can just turn it on for sites. I think it's on by default, but you can just turn it on. It has a specific name. If you let me just find
it is a SpinUp WP thing because I'm just like querying the markup and the dashboard.
They just call it full page cache. I don't know what's doing it on the tech stack, but full page cache is what they call it.
Yeah,
it must be something they install when you obviously set up your server with them. But that's how that works. Cool. And then in terms of the tech stack, it's using SpinUp WP for the management of the hosting. It is using a DigitalOcean bog standard cheapo droplet box.
Yeah.
It's using WordPress, the latest WordPress. It's using 2025 that's been modified in the site editor.
Yeah, I haven't done a child theme or anything. There's a bit of custom CSS, but everything, vast majority has just been done in the site editor with the 2025 theme.
We've got block visibility plugin on there. I don't quite know what that's doing actually, but we've got that on there. We've got gravity forms for some of the forms. We've got one or two custom plugins for favoriting things, which you wrote with the help of Cursor, wasn't it?
Yeah.
There's a plugin that obviously adds the activities, post type, taxonomies, and that sort of thing. We've got Mailgun, which is just to send emails because the way SpinUp works, they don't create you're not allowed to send email in PHP unless you connect something up like that. So it's using that. We've got Relevancy on there for help with the search for just to start, if you're typing in keywords. So that's been added. I think is that just the free version? I think it is.
Yeah, it's the free version.
Yeah. And that's basically it, really. That's it.
Pretty much.
That's the tech stack anyway. So hopefully that answers those questions. Elliot, hello, Elliot. Did you consider using the WP Interactivity API to prevent page refresh? No. In a word, I've never used it. I've never really understood how to use it.
I didn't even know it could be used like that. And
it's already fast, so I don't really see the necessary. But maybe I'm wrong. We'll see. But no, I didn't.
Yeah, so preventing page refresh, but would that update the URLs and everything?
I guess so. Yeah. Anyway, I guess the reason for that is because when you're on one of those all activities pages and you hit something in the left sidebar, everything stays the same on the page except the results on the right hand side. So I guess what that would allow you to do is just refresh the posts on the right hand side. We do need to change the list on the left hand side actually as well, but. And then the URL would change as well. That's all. Rather than loading everything again, I think the idea.
It did cross my mind for the favoriting functionality, but I just I just asked Cursor to do it for me. It took a little bit of time to get that working properly, but you can, if you're logged in, you can favorite things. So and then you've got a page called My Favorites, and you can go and view your favorite activities. I just built that. I built that by hand.
I've watched several videos on the Interactivity API, and I can't get my tiny brain around it. I don't understand how it. I can't get the architecture in my mind. I can't. It just seems so much easier to do it different ways. But anyway, I'm sure there are things that you can do.
And thanks for the feedback, Elliot, as well. Though he says site looks great. By the way, if only my kids were a little younger, I'd definitely be using it with them. Yeah. Well, hopefully. I mean, I really hope. I do hope people will use it. I mean, I've started to already, just in those moments. Like, tonight, my wife's out. I'll be picking my daughter up from school, and I don't want her to spend the rest of the afternoon and evening on the TV, watching TV. So I'm gonna have to think of some things to do and. Hopefully,
some inspiration.
Dip into the site. But yeah, loads of what are some of the other technical challenges? Because I feel like there's some interesting ones. Or have we got? I think we've got through most of them, haven't we?
A lot of them are similar. Yeah, so like meta titles, page titles that you see in the tab, but they're based off of the title you see on the screen. So there's not much difference. It's just putting it in the right place. And again, I don't think that's perfect yet. So you probably find some bugs that. It works for this and it doesn't work for this. Yeah. So I'm aware of those. It's just working out all the little nuances of why it's breaking on certain things and so on. I was debugging it. Was it earlier this week?
Yeah.
And I was literally like running the same function and it was giving me two different things. And I was just like, I cannot get my head around it. I just had to put it down. It was driving me insane. So I need to just come back to that next week, maybe with a bit of an open mind and see what I can do with it.
Yeah, I think that's fine. I'll let people in on some of the numbers.
Yep.
So I installed Google Search Console, not Google Analytics, because I don't want to do any proper tracking if I can avoid it. But I installed Search Console just to see if things were being indexed correctly and stuff. So as of on Saturday, April 26th, it had indexed 3 pages on the site. So that was quite exciting. Got, first few pages were indexed. Then on, and not indexed, then it went up to 7, not indexed 3. The next jump was the 30th of April, when suddenly we had 516 pages indexed and 1,300 not indexed. It sat like that for a few days. And then on the 4th of May, we jumped up to 2,500 indexed pages on the site. And 1,700 not indexed. So the system is definitely working in the sense that all the pages that we're dynamically creating are getting picked up by Google, which is great. That number scares me a little bit, though, because we've got about 80 activities on the website, but we've got 2,500 pages being indexed. So there is obviously going to be huge scope for lots of thin and duplicate content, and it'll be interesting to see how that plays out.
But isn't that just a matter of Google working that out eventually? And
saying, but it might, it might work that out and say, yeah, you've got loads of duplicate thin content. This site is very low quality, and just the whole site gets a bit of a hit from it. Or it might de-index some of those pages over time, which is kind of fine, like you say. Like let Google figure it out. That's what it's good at. But yeah, it's kind of it was exciting to see all the pages being indexed, but then also quite scary at the same time. I was like, wow, that's a lot. That's a lot of pages for not that much content. So that was kind of interesting. Pretty much all the traffic to the site at the moment, I've got Fathom running on it, so I am doing some analytics, some kind of privacy-friendly analytics. Pretty much all the traffic has just been direct, based on our tweets and posts and whatever else, word of mouth and whatever. So I don't think we're getting any actual search traffic yet. Not very many. We need some backlinks. So if anyone wants to give us a backlink, feel free. I saw one recently, and it was a friend of mine, Ross, and I was like very excited to get my first proper backlink from Ross on his blog. So that was nice. But yeah, we're getting some impressions. We're way down the search rankings at the minute, but like through Search Console, I can see, the site has been served up 310 times so far. I mean, it's tiny, isn't it? But the average position is 52. So now, you're on page 5, which no one's ever going to get to. So no actual clicks yet. But then it's still encouraging to see that Google has seen it. It's actually serving it up occasionally.
I think what's encouraging for me is that the concept of this browse content plugin that we developed, this automated landing pages type thing, it kind of works. Like it generates the pages and Google is indexing them. So I'm sure it's got lots of issues that we need to deal with, and we have been dealing with them with this website. But the fundamental concept is, can we automatically generate these pages and get them to be indexed? And that appears to be the answer is yes. Now, there might be other issues to now solve, duplicate content, blah, blah, blah. But ultimately, that's got to be a good thing. If I was watching us right now and I was in the audience, I would be probably saying, okay, what's the goal with this website? Like, you built it. Is it just a bit of fun? What is it? Why have you built it? Obviously, you built it because it was a burning itch. Is it? Where do you see it going, I suppose, is the question. Or maybe I think
if it sat there and people, we could see that people were finding it and using it, I'd be really happy with that. Yeah. It's been a really good learning experience. It's scratched an itch. It's helped us with our product. I feel like it's kind of done its job in some way, done a job already. I think the potential for it is pretty massive. I think I can't see another website that is doing what we're doing, like that is a directory of things to do with kids. There's lots of blog posts. There's lots of little bolt-ons to websites about crafts to do with your kids at Halloween and blah, blah, blah. There's lots of content out there, but I haven't seen a single place to go that is trying to be all, like, just to encompass like everything, like a global
There's no
directory
go place to find out screen-free stuff to do with your kids. There's lots of offshoots.
But maybe, maybe that's because nobody wants this.
We'll find out one.
We've either stumbled onto something that could be great, or we've created something that nobody wanted. So we'll find out, I guess.
Yeah, we'll find out.
And if it's the former, then it could be amazing. Like it could really grow. We could build a big community around it. We could, there are loads and loads of options to monetize it if it ever came to that. There's sponsorships, there's sponsor activities, there's affiliate links, there's ads, there's it's such a targeted website that I think running ads on it would be a bit of a no-brainer eventually. But then you don't want to dilute the experience, and like a lot of those websites that I've mentioned that I've been to, they're just full of visual crap all over the page, and that's one of the things I hate about them. Whereas I just want to see, just tell me how to do the activity. Don't give me the backstory and the ads and the affiliate links all mixed in. So it's trying to keep it kind of pure in that sense, but potentially monetize it. But if that never happens, it never happens. This podcast never took off in a way that we ended up monetizing anything, and we still do it. You know what I mean? It's just like, it might be one of those things. It's just a little hobby.
Good.
Who knows?
Good.
Yeah.
So it's turned into me asking you questions. We've shown this to a few people now. A few people have seen it. You posted it on LinkedIn. It got some love. People looked at it. Very few people have said, "Oh, that's and maybe that's just because they're kind." But no one said, like, people have given us ideas and suggestions, and that's good. So if we've got people watching or listening to this podcast, what could they do to help this project?
Backlinks. if they really, that is a genuinely one, because obviously it's still a big ranking factor. If you have a blog and you can just be like, oh, these guys that we know have built this cool thing, it's linked over here. That's basically what Ross did. He has a little micro blog and he just gave us a link. That would help. What I would really love some people to do is actually register for the site and see what that process is like for them, and try to create their own favorites list. So, and maybe try the commenting system and stuff like that, like some of that kind of community stuff that would be really, really useful. But I guess the main thing is just, if you think it's good, just tell people about it that might be interested in it, I think.
Nice. And a few in the comments have said they will. So that's nice. Thank you.
Yeah, really, really nice. Yeah. I appreciate it.
Cool.
But it's been fun. It's been fun.
Yeah, it has. It's been a fun, and will continue to be, I'm sure, a fun project. But we've done 40 minutes, so probably time to wrap it up. That was episode 119.
Yeah.
After a while of missing.
Yeah. Wow. 119. Yeah. And as always, if you did enjoy the show, we would appreciate a like. Consider subscribing if you do want more content. We'll try to get back on it, and hopefully we'll have lots of stuff to talk about around this project, because there's loads of nice little WordPress technical challenges and things. Find us in all the places. wpcafe.show on Blue Sky and online. WP Cafe Show on X, on the podcast on YouTube. And hopefully see you next week. See you soon.
Bye-bye.
Bye.